The search for new community gardens continues. Details on that story and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, August 28th, 2014. I'm Sarah Colvin. The Barnstable Agricultural Commission is examining several parcels of land in town in hopes of expanding the community garden system. At this week's meeting, Long Pond Garden Manager Donna Lawson spoke to the group about what's needed to create a community garden.
Property, number of plots, size of plots. I listened to the plot size during the last meeting, and that's not a plot size that a gardener would want. A 20 by 20 would be the smallest I would start with. Our plots at Long Pond are 20 by 40. And there were older gardeners who asked, could we have some smaller plots? So I did put in 8 20 by 20, which wound up being, they wanted, now I want 2.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I would start with 20 by 20, but I would have the option to have both.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not that much room.
No, it isn't. You need to decide. We have town water. Meeting House Farm has a well. Those things need to be irrigation. Who's going to install that? The town or a private company? Fencing. We don't have fencing except for gardeners. If they choose to have fencing, that's fine. But they must, everything you bring in, you need to bring out. So, parking.
Is that every year, you mean?
No,
or when you're done?
No, if they're coming back the following year,
Yeah.
we allow them to leave it there.
Yeah.
Parking is a big issue. Gardeners need designated gardener parking. We are fortunate in the mills. Conservation has allowed us to have access to the field.
Right.
So we can park right on the field. That's an area that's used by walkers, bikers, lots of, there's dog trainers out there. It's used constantly, and it was becoming an issue for parking with so many gardeners. So we now park on the field, which is great. So
They all have keys to the gate?
no keys. There is a combination lock.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which garden manager, when we get there, when I talk about that, you have to be aware of when the gates open, closed, all that kind of.
Yeah.
Landscaping around the areas. I see that, Judy, you have volunteers that mow your areas in Marston's Mills. I asked a local landscaper, do you do any community service? And he said, no. So I asked him to mow our garden area, and he does that. So, trash.
Trash, yeah.
Yep. Tom picks up our trash Monday and Fridays. Also, the little dog bags. If you're most gardeners, or a lot of gardeners, bring their dogs, must be on a leash. But that's something else that I think you should think about. A compost area.
Judy DeRoche of Meeting House Farm in West Barnstable also addressed the Agricultural Commission, sharing her experiences.
We've been fortunate, I think.
Yeah.
We have a very similar situation with some differences. As I said, we only have 30 plots. Ours are smaller than Donna's. Ours are 15 by 15, and that seems to suit our group very comfortably. We do have formal guidelines that people sign. We have a liability. We have liability insurance on the property, but we also ask them to sign a release of liability form. And we also, because the farm has other activities and is quite a large site, we ask them to try to put in 2 hours a month helping with the operation and maintenance of the rest of the farm. And I would say over 50% of the people who participate are willing to do that. We don't have much turnover. When we do have plots that become available, it's usually because people just find they don't have the time to maintain their garden. And so in that case, we might have out of 30 plots, 2 or 3 a year that become available. I don't know, Donna, if you have
This
much
year, we
turnover.
No, this year we were able to give 10 plots to our waitlist gardeners. And I think we did something similar to you. We require that our gardeners maintain for the season. If I notice that people are not maintaining or keeping up, then we just don't send them the application, renewal application. I usually have a discussion with them, find out what's going on, just to make sure that life hasn't happened and, they're dealing with issues. Because that does happen.
Definitely.
And, you have to take that into consideration.
DeRoche cautioned the Agricultural Commission that while creating new gardens is possible, there are many steps involved in creating new space.
If the town were going to undertake something, town-wide, or, the goal is to create sort of a system of community gardens in every village, there is going to be money involved in soil building. And I don't know that if you have a budget or if you're thinking about grant writing or what, but you're laughing at them. But anyway, so I think the other thing that is really valuable is the educational aspect of getting people growing things. I think, Dawn is available to people. We have master gardeners involved in our group. And if you want people to be successful, it's really beneficial to have a pool of knowledge that can be shared, because people like talking plants, and if you have that collaborative piece, it's very helpful. And the other thing is the things that you can't measure, the stress reduction, the mental and emotional well-being benefits of gardening, to get people out there enjoying nature. I mean, I think overall it's just great for the town's quality of life concerns. And the other thought for us is that we really try to talk up the issue of when you select products for gardening or personal landscaping, you're making decisions that will impact water resource issues on the Cape. I mean, this is a huge problem for people that we have beautiful estates, lovely lawns, high investment in landscaping, but not always a sense of, the choices you make really have some major consequences for the environment. So I guess my point is I'd love to see every village have 20 or 50 plots, and along with it, a context that is promoting all of the various potential learning opportunities that go with having a garden.
The Agricultural Commission will continue discussing the issue. Specific parcels have yet to be identified, but the group is hoping to create a garden in Hyannis. The Cape Cod Commission has released the Section 208 Water Quality Plan update. The 208 plan focuses on nutrient impacts to the Cape's estuaries, primarily caused by nitrogen in wastewater. The 208 plan update reflects a watershed-based approach, as watersheds, not town boundaries, define the jurisdiction of the problem. The Commission has worked on the update for more than a year. Public hearings will be held across the Cape, with the first being held September 10th in Wellfleet Preservation Hall. The Mid-Cape hearing will take place October 7th in the Innovation Room at the County Complex in Barnstable Village. A quick reminder for our residents that fireworks will take place Saturday night. They will be set off from a barge in Lewis Bay at 8 p.m. Saturday evening. Find full details at town.barnstable.ma.us. And as always, be sure to tune in to Barnstable This Morning, our daily morning newscast, every weekday at 7 a.m. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.